Hey guys, so I am back and we are going to get started. I am going to wait for Natalie to come on. Let's see, I know there's a way on here that I can invite her. Let's see if I remember how to do so. I wonder if it's that one. Let's see, I think that was just an invite. Okay, I think I have to wait till she's actually on here. No, don't look at the mess. Hey guys, today we are going to be talking to the author of Emmie and the Tudor King. This is a new release. I think this came out back in June. Oh, there she is. Awesome. Let's see. Do I tap and hold? Can I do this off of the iPad? It's been a while since I've done this. Let's see. See, that's just questions. Turn off questions. We don't want to do that. Natalie, is there a way for you to request? Oh, there we go. Okay, it said it's waiting for you. While we are getting ready to do this live stream today, make sure that you add your questions below in the comments and we will find them. Woo. Yay, that worked. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to switch to my phone.
Yeah. How you doing?
Pretty good. Dealing with children. I did a small little wrap-up of last month, and it's like not 2 seconds after I started, my youngest walks in, can I go to the park? And I'm like,
gosh.
No,
I've got two kids on the other side of that door, and they're getting ready for school. It's 8 a.m. where I am, so it's school morning. I'm in Australia, and I'm just waiting for them to burst through the door. In fact, I think I'm just going to go and lock it now that you mention it. Give me one tick. Hang on.
Lock the kids out.
Lock the kids out.
As I get covered by books.
Yeah, that's a great background there. You got lots of good books behind there.
Let's see if this works a little bit better so it doesn't try to come and attack me.
Awesome.
There we go. There, now it won't try to kill me today. Guys, if you're just joining us now, we are getting ready to do this week's author chat with author Emma. Is it Murray or Murray, right? Or
Murray.
Murray, okay.
Yeah.
For her book, Emma and the Tudor King. So if you guys have any questions, make sure to toss them in the comments below. And I actually have swag, and I forgot to grab it. Oh no! Let's see if one of the small children can bring wagon.
Well, at least the small children are good for something in a video. I've got my youngest 4, so I'm not sure I trust her to gather swag on my behalf.
Well, I was doing videos out in the living room, and because in here it was a disaster area. There is stuff everywhere. Like my bed is covered in clean clothes right now that I haven't put away today because we were trying to get through all the laundry and stuff because the hurricane was coming and it was supposed to like hit us head on, and it decided to go up the coast instead. So it's just been laundry. It's fun.
Yeah.
So much fun. Yeah. But we're gonna have swag to give away live on camera here. So make sure you ask your questions.
Thanks,
we'll
guys.
be completely ready here in 4 minutes at 6 o'clock. So we're just gonna sit here and yammer.
It's nearly 6 p.m. where you are.
Yeah, it is 5:56 right now. Let's see. I think I have a messenger here. All right, put it right here so I can find it. There's swag sitting in here somewhere.
I like your BB-8 you got there.
Thanks. That's actually from Disney.
Oh, right. Oh, there he is. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Massive. Probably my favorite story, whether it be literature or film or television of all time.
Found it! Woo!
Yay!
One of my mini reviewers. All right, thank you. Goodbye.
Great. Well, I've got lots of writing to do today. after
And these
this.
are all signed. Thank you so much for providing signed swag.
Yeah, pleasure. I'm glad they got to you. Let me just see where get a bit more light happening here. Ooh, okay, that wasn't a good idea. I think I'll just leave it.
So we will have quite a few winners. A few winners will win just a bookmark that is signed, and then a few people will win a bookmark and a, what do you guys really call these? Are they just postcards?
Book plate.
Oh, you guys consider these book plates?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can put them inside the book, and it's like having a copy of the book.
Okay, that works. All right,
Yeah.
well, if you are just joining us, make sure you ask your questions. We've got 3 minutes to go, 2 minutes to go. I can't read. 2 minutes to go before we start the show. Hello, Crimson Rose Reads. Thank you for joining us today. We are chatting up with Natalie Murray of Emma and the Tudor King.
Yeah, Emmie, actually. Emmie and the Tudor King.
What did I say?
Emma.
Emma. I'm changing everybody's names today, it seems.
Yeah. Don't worry. Emmie's far less common name. I've got a daughter, and her actual name sounds like a much more common version of that name, and she's called the wrong name on a very regular basis, but that's okay. I should have just called her the more obvious.
My children feel your pain. My oldest, who is 15, her name is Endarin, and everybody always gets it wrong. And then my youngest, she's 8, and her name is Anna Reese.
Yeah.
People usually get her name correct because hers is actually a street name that's over here.
Oh, right.
And I seen and I really liked it, so it worked out.
Oh. Okay, cool. Beautiful names.
Oh, yeah. So how is weather in Australia?
Warming up now. So we're, of course, the opposite to North America, and we've just been through a very mild winter and can't complain. Not too cold, but I'm ready for summer now.
Okay. Well, I live in Florida. It's always summer here.
Oh, yeah. Okay. No, you live in a very
hot. It's always hot.
Yeah, beautiful.
Well, we'll get cold here every once in a while. This past winter, like, our air conditioner never shut off, unfortunately.
Yeah. I've been there once. I went to Disney, and we were there in the winter, actually, because my husband's Canadian, and they all like to leave Canada in the winter and go down to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And it was still pretty warm. I was lying by the pool. Beautiful.
It's always warm. Lots of rain, though. Lots of rain.
Yeah, well, you need that when it's hot.
Oh, yeah. All right, well, it is 6 o'clock, so we will get this show on the road. If you are just joining us, we are live with the author of Emmie and the Tudor King. Look, I didn't butcher the title. She is live from Australia.
Hey there. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. If you are just joining us, we will be doing some live giveaways for some swag.
Awesome.
Everybody loves the swag.
Yeah.
All right, so our first question is, tell us a little about you and your title.
My title, okay. So I'm the author of Emmie and the Tudor King. I live in Australia. I spent the last 10 years living in Hong Kong. So I wrote this book from Hong Kong, then moved back to Australia. And the book Emmie has been published through Literary Crush, who do gorgeous romance. I just love them. And the title is something they came up with. So we went through a lot of discussions about title. Titling a book is far harder than writing a book. It's like I can write 80,000 words, but I can't write 3. So they decided to market it as Emmie and the Tudor King to make it really clear that it was a romance and that it was partly set in the Tudor era. So readers didn't get a surprise when they opened it.
Right. I actually saw that on your website where it has like your query letter where it was
Yeah.
called one or what, Upon a Time or something like that.
Yes. Yes. It was originally called Upon a Time. In fact, that was one of several titles, and even the main character, the main male character, had a different name. Um, his name is King Nicholas, Nick for short, but his original name was James. And he had to have a name change because the actual King James I came into power at a similar time. So with this alternate history of the Tudor era, it was just a little bit too confusing to have a fictional King James and a real King James in the same
I
decade.
can understand that.
Yeah, the titling's really, really tricky. And I'm friends with a lot of debuting authors, and they're constantly discussing behind the scenes about how they're arguing with publishers about titles.
I can only imagine. I know that a lot of, especially like covers and stuff, that they can get changed the drop of a hat depending on what stores want and the publisher wants and everything. And it is so
100%.
crazy. Ah! I keep turning my camera around when I go to
There's that washing you
people. I'm like,
mentioned.
don't look at my clothes. What is something that readers should know about Emmie and the Tudor King?
Well, it's a really fun read, would be what I would like to share about it. I mean, if you've read the little description about it, you'd know it's a time travel romance, and it's about a modern day high school graduate who is, by no fault of her own, sucked back in time to the Tudor era, which is a fascinating period and really fun to write. But while you might have come across other Tudor era books written by, brilliant writers like Philippa Gregory and Alison Weir, they're sort of somewhat heavy historical novels, and this is a really fun read. It almost has the feel of a contemporary romance in the world of King Henry VIII.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an easy read. It's something to take on a holiday. It's something to read in bed on a Sunday morning and just sort of flip through and have fun with it.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Of all the time periods you could have chosen, why did you choose this one?
I'm just so personally invested in the Tudor era. I'm a real history buff. There was a time in my life where I wanted to be a historian professionally, and I really am now an armchair historian, and have done incredible amount of research into the era. But I just the first time I ever read about King Henry VIII and his 6 wives, beheading 2 of them, and then his 3 children from 3 different mothers, and the dramas of the Tudor dynasty are just really were quite unprecedented. And that, alongside the clothes and the palaces and all these, the birth of Shakespeare. I mean, it was the first Francis Drake circumnavigating the world and visiting America for the first time. It's just a very rich era, very difficult to write about because there's not a lot of material left to research.
Mm-hmm.
So I've read a lot of letters and speeches and direct sources like that, and countless history books as well. But it's and I visited a few of the palaces that are still standing. But it's a tricky era to put back together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I know a lot of other people that have done historical books that it gets kind of complicated because one book will contradict another book, and then you just have to kind of do your own thing on what you want to believe happened, and that's where you can put your own twists and stuff on history.
Well, that was one of the big reasons why I chose to do a bit of an alternate Tudor history, in which case I'm very faithful to the years preceding 1580, which is when my book is set. So I'm faithful to the reign of King Henry and Queen Mary and the beginning of Queen Elizabeth, and then it cuts to my alternate But I did that because there are so many books already about Queen Elizabeth I's reign and Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn and, you know, the numerous sort of well-known, well-drawn characters of the era, that I just thought to do something different, I had to create somebody, I had to insert a new person into the mix, which is what I did with Emmie, Tudor King.
Hey, it worked. It worked really well. I really enjoyed this book. It's one of the best of this year.
Oh, thanks.
So my next question is are you an Outlander fan?
I am now. You know, I didn't read Outlander before I wrote Emmie and the Tudor King. In fact, I actually didn't know it existed, which is a little bit like living under a rock because I am a big reader. But when I got the idea for Emmie and the Tudor King, I did a little bit of a research, a little bit of a Google search to make sure there weren't already books about a time traveler going to the Tudor world and a romance. And what popped up was Outlander as probably the most famous time travel, one of the most famous time travel romance novels in the world. So I thought, oh, okay, I'm not going to read that until after I've written my book because I didn't want to risk being influenced by it at all. So after I wrote and sold Emmie and the Tudor King, I thought I'm going to read Outlander, and I did, and I absolutely loved it.
Have you seen the TV show?
I have, yeah, and that's fun. That's really fun. I'm more of a fan of the novels than the show, but the show's beautifully done as well. Great cast. Do you watch the show? Do you watch Outlander?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
I love both of them. I think that they, like for Claire, they made her more outspoken in the TV show versus the book.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, they stayed pretty close to the book in the show, which a lot of people like. Only like one person that died somewhere in the series didn't die in the TV show, which now they're kind of kicking themselves that they didn't kill him off because they're coming up with issues because he's not there. Okay, what do we do with this? So they're having to think a little bit more because he kind of creates this this issue of something that's going on in the new season, and it's like, see, so that's why you don't do that.
Yeah, it's tricky. I've been to author talks with authors whose books have been made into film or television shows, and they seem to feel quite separated from it. I mean, I can't speak for Diana Gabaldon or all the authors in the world who have had that happen to them, but the authors that I've heard, you know, it's sort of, that's their show and this is my book, and that's their characters and these are my characters. Interesting.
The next question is, I know the book 2 has, at least I'm pretty sure book 2 hasn't been announced yet, but will it pick up where this one left off and continue the story, or will it be like a companion book?
No, it'll pick up where this one left off. So it's an immediate continuation of the story. And I thought about putting in a bit of a gap, but we'll see how the edits go, and maybe that will be trimmed. But for now, the draft picks up immediately, and it's a it's going to be a really fun book.
And it's slated for sometime next year?
Yep.
I think is what it said.
Year, 2020. It should be announced soon. Hopefully the first half of 2020.
That would make it even better.
Yeah.
This book doesn't technically end on what it's a cliffhanger, but it's a cliffhanger I could live with, you know, because you're not wondering, oh my God, is somebody dead? Is somebody alive? You know, what is going on? You kind of know, but it's still something that I need to know what happens next. You know, so if you read this book, guys, make sure you've been warned. You have no excuses not to know.
Yeah. It could stand alone, I would have to say. It could stand alone if it ended there.
I think it could.
It's ripe for a sequel.
Oh,
so you've explained it well. Yeah.
I think because this is your debut as well, correct?
Right.
I think you did a stellar job with everything that is in Emma and the Tudor King, of what I read in the ARC. You know, start, beginning, middle, finish, everything, and the ending was beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
But somebody else says that they cannot wait for book 2. Thank you for introducing me to the world of the Tudors. Love you, your French friend. Thank you so much for commenting.
Thank you,
Again,
Mary.
if you guys have any questions, make sure you put them in the comments below. I have a whole bunch of swag to give away at the end of this video.
Great.
Okay, let's see. What can we expect from you in the future? After you are done with, is this going to be a trilogy or a duology, or?
It's a trilogy. So there will be a book 3. And then I would say Emmie and Nick's story will conclude, but there's always possibility for a companion book. But I'd really like, I'm brewing another idea at the moment for another Tudor novel. I'd actually started already a contemporary romance, and I may finish that first, but I'm really still feeling quite happy to sit and play in the 16th century for a little bit longer. And I've discovered another character, a real character from history, that I would like to write about. But I'll have to do, there's a lot of research to be done because there's not a lot that I can find that's been written about her yet.
I would love to have like maybe another one or something where, you know, the person back in time is the woman, and then a guy comes back to her instead of, you know, do like the gender swap thing.
Oh yeah, that's
kind of cool.
Good. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I like that idea. We'll have to see. Yeah, thank you.
If you had to write another book from a point of view from this story, but it couldn't be one of the main characters, who would you choose and why?
So it couldn't be you mean one of the two? It couldn't be a Nick or Emmie, obviously.
Yeah.
Emmie, but it could be one of the supporting cast.
Yes.
Okay, I would really like to write a book from the point of view of Alice Grey, who was Emmie's best friend in the Tudor court. She's probably one of my favorite characters, and she's just really, she's a little bit ahead of her time. She's incredibly bright. She's got a conflicting, confused romance situation of her own that she needs to and I just would love to spend more time with her, really.
I actually really loved her as a side character. I support that.
Thank you. Yeah, I do like the love story of Alice and Francis, who are my two supporting cast members that are in love but don't know it really. So yeah, I'd like to explore more of them and their relationship.
That sounds amazing. Reader Opolis says, can you work on more than one book at the same time?
Yes, I can. I can creatively, but realistically, but realistically with deadlines, I can't. So I've got a deadline looming for book 2 in the Emmie and the Tudor King series, and I just literally have no more time in my day to write anything else. But I have written 2 books concurrently when I don't have a looming deadline, and creatively I seem to be able to flip between heads. Which could be
are you a full-time writer, or do you also have an outside job?
I'm 90%, 80% full-time writer. So I spend most of my days on fiction writing. And I do have another, I do corporate work as well. And I have some clients that I write for as well. And I have 2 children.
Mom. It's like, don't forget mom. You're a mom too.
Yeah, I'm a mom and a wife and a friend and a sister, and I have lots of other things.
It's a full-time job in its own.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. The next question is, Emma gets pulled back into the past in Emmie and the Tudor. I keep calling her Emma. Emmie.
You can call her Emma. You can call her Emma as a nickname if you like.
Some of these other books. I'm glad that, you know, I started this. I knew she had a nice, simple name. I didn't have to wonder, like, how do I pronounce this? It was easy. You have no idea how nice that was. But she gets pulled to the past. How do you think Nick would have fared if he had gotten pulled to the future instead?
Oh, well, he does get pulled to the future in a little bit of Emmie and the Tudor King, which is kind of a little bit of a spoiler surprise. I think it'd be a lot more difficult for anybody to be pulled 400 years forward in time than 400 years backward. So I think he would be quite, I think he would be quite traumatized, to be honest, if he was to spend any sort of longer period of time in the future, especially because, you know, the Tudor era was so deeply religious, everything centered on worship of God and getting to heaven. And, you know, this is a bit of a different time in that sense. So I think he would feel like, I'm not sure. I think it's something that's probably worth exploring in a future book. So you'll have to stay tuned for that one.
What are you reading? Anything now?
Yes, yes. I'm always reading something. At the moment, I'm reading My Lady Jane, actually.
Oh, that one was so good.
Yeah, so I've had that on my bookshelf for so long. And I thought, I'm just going to read that one now. You know, I just tend to, I do read outside the genre of historical fiction and romance and young adults. So I have lots of different books sitting there, and I just like to switch genres every time. So what did I read? I read Normal People just before this one. I think it was. Oh, I get confused. So yeah, I thought I'm going to read My Lady Jane. It's a lot of fun. It's hilarious. And I
It's
know,
so good. That one's so good.
yeah, I know quite, you know, I'm familiar with the Jane Grey story, and it's so fun to get a different twist on it, something so wacky as well.
They did. Those three ladies did very good writing together. I love that series.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so good. Let's see. And Emmie and the Tudor King. Emmie does jewelry making, and that's what she wants to go to college for. Why did you choose that as her profession?
Gosh, it's such a good question. I'd have to think back so far, because that was that the Emmy character was created first, which was years ago now. I'll just start by saying I have no knowledge of jewelry making. I have no interest in jewelry making. It's not something that I would ever pursue myself. So I did have to go. I went to walk around a few jewelry schools and interviewed a few jewelry makers, which was really fun. I think it had something to do, I mean, again, it was sort of so long ago. I think it had something to do with the fact that with the original plot, which was probably quite different to what it ended up being. I thought it was a nice twist that she finds a ring that has the enchantment to take her back to the 16th century, and it's something that, you know, jewelry symbolically is such an important part of her life. And it sort of gives her an interest in the Tudor period as well, because, you know, the jewelry worn in the Tudor court was some of the most stunning and intricate and elaborate pieces of jewelry, well, that certainly was ever made at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it would give her another interest as well.
I liked it. I make jewelry, so.
Do you? Oh, well done.
Yeah, I do. Once upon a time, I used to make beaded bags and all this stuff. I still crochet stuff, but not as much as I used to. It takes a toll on your hands and stuff.
Yeah.
But let's see. Marion wants to know, which book about the Tudor era would you recommend? I'm looking for a new book about that time to dive into.
I don't. I assume Marion's talking about fiction rather than rather than a history book, because this book is brilliant. This is a book, The Time Traveller's Guide to Elizabethan England, which I have on my desk all the time, and that will tell you sort of just everything you need to know about, you know, Elizabethan England. Really, I mean, Queen Elizabeth is Tudor, so you can say that the Elizabethan era is close enough to the Tudor era that it's all still relevant. So that's sort of the book that I would recommend at the moment. In terms of a fiction book set in the Tudor era, I would have to say Emmie and the Tudor King. But apart from Emmie and the Tudor King, you know, Wolf Hall is really fun. Fun might be sort of an interesting way of describing it, but I thought it was a really interesting look at Thomas Cromwell's life. And all of Philippa Gregory's books are beautiful as well.
Oh, she has a new one that just came out called Tidelands.
Yes, I saw that. I haven't read that.
Neither have I.
But I'd like to.
I have it. One of my other reviewers is covering it. I know there's another one. I don't know if it has to deal with the Tudor era, but it's called The Fatal Throne. I can actually see it from here. But I think it's an anthology or something like that. It's a bind up of the women of history. It looked pretty interesting.
Yes, there's a lot of, and I wish I had another one sitting here, but there's a few good books I've read lately about the women of the Tudor period. And I'd have to go back to my bookshelf to remember the name of them for Marion, but they're the life of women. I mean, looking into the life of women there is fascinating, and there isn't a lot of documentation about women's lives
Right.
in the Tudor era. They just weren't written about, which is probably unsurprising.
Yeah.
So,
Marion wants to know, will we learn more about Jane Stewart in book 2?
yes, we will learn more about Jane Stewart in book 2. Thanks for asking. She's also one of my favorite characters. If you haven't read Emmie and the Tudor King, she's a bit of a mysterious character from Emmie's modern day time period, and she does return in book 2, and we do learn pretty much all we need to know about Jane Stewart.
Sounds amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Let's give this yummy swag away. Let's see who's on the list. Let me scroll back up through here. Guys, also, I will be uploading this to YouTube and letting that sit for a few days, so I will be doing some of these off of there as well for people who comment. Let's see. Crimson Rose Reads, you have one. Please send me a DM with your shipping information.
Yay.
Marion Hart, Leah, I'm sorry if I butcher you guys' names. DM me with your shipping information. Readeropolis, and I think that's everybody on here. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I hope you have enjoyed your time at Cross Reviews, and I hope that you come back for book 2. I'm so excited. I cannot wait for book 2. Like, literally. It's one of those titles that if it shows up, I will drop whatever I'm reading and I will read that first.
Oh, that's so lovely to hear. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me, and for having me at 8 a.m. and my time to get up and do some work.
Time zones are insane. That's all I got to say about those. Time zones are crazy.
They sure are. Oh my gosh.
I despise them. Because I always get them wrong.
Yeah. It's the daylight saving that gets me. That's where I get confused.
Oh, goodness. That's even worse.
Yeah. That's why I had to message you saying, what time is it right now?
Right. And then some places over here don't have daylight savings time.
Correct.
So the time never changes. So then it makes it even worse.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Lovely to see you. Thanks. I'll talk to you again, hopefully.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you guys for showing up for this week's author chat. Next week on the 13th, we will be having a new author, which I'm selling because I didn't bring up the website yet. But it will be, I can scoot over here, will be Mora. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce her last name, but it is Crown of Coral and Pearl. This is such an amazing title as well. This is one that is set on the oceans and a new world set in the fantasy genre. And I can tell you what time it is as soon as this decides to load on my phone. She will be here on the 13th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so make sure to come back. This is such a great book. This one I got done finishing up as soon as I had read House of Salt and Sorrow, which is also another great one. And they both deal with like seafaring people and stuff. This one deals with pretty sure this isn't a dual point of view. I don't think it is. No, it is not. Kind of wish that it was, because in this what is her name? Zadie and Noor get separated because one goes to the mainland and one stays out. And I spent a lot of the book just agonizing over not knowing what was going on with Zadie, and I'm just like in tears, like, oh my god, what is this girl going through? And then you kind of get a snippet at the end of what had happened after Noor left, and I finished this book being devastated, and that's all there is to it. So, and I finished this one about a month or so before it actually even published, because this just came out back on the 27th of last month. So that makes it even worse, because of course book 2 won't come out until sometime the end of next year. So it made me cry so bad. So please join us next week on the 13th, which I think is also Friday the 13th. Is that a Friday? Oh, goodness. Yes, it is. Join me on Friday the 13th as we talk to the author about Crown and of Coral and Pearl. It's going to be a fun time. I'll see you guys later. If you ever want to see what authors are coming on for upcoming shows, you can check that out on our website, crossreviews.com, and click the link at the top that says author chats. Everything is on there. Oh my god, my eyeball. Everything is set in Eastern Standard Time, and you can find out everybody that's coming on. As a quick overlook, I won't give you times because that'll just take forever, but we have Amber Duell of Dreamkeeper coming on this month, as well as Laura, I'm going to say Namey. It's probably wrong. But she is the author of the upcoming title, which I think just published or is getting ready to publish. Actually, I don't think it comes out until October. But it is The Library of Lost Things, and that is everybody for September. Then for October, we have Nancy Richardson Fisher of The Speed of Falling. The Speed of Falling. Okay. And then we have some other people coming on later this year. So if there's ever an author that you want to come on the show, just tweet them out the link for author chat and say, hey, we want you to come on the show, and we will try our best to get them on here. Right now, we are attempting to get Catherine McKee. I have no idea how to pronounce her name, but she just wrote the new release of American Royals to come on the show, because I love that book. I actually just finished it earlier today, and I would really love to have her on the show to chat about it. And it is a retelling of historical of the U.S. So we don't have a president. We now have a king and a queen, which was really interesting. It was really good. Yes, so many great authors. If you want to see past shows, of course, you can check out our YouTube channel. They are all under their own playlist for Author Chat, and that goes all the way back before it was even called Author Chat. Sadly, we don't have the ones from Spreecast because they were charging to download, but there is a slew of authors on there, everywhere from Lori Forrest, who wrote the Black Witch Chronicles, and a whole bunch of other amazing authors. So make sure to check that out as well. And we will see you guys next week.